I had spent a lifetime trying to understand my mother, to comprehend how she seemed to pine for something just out of her reach. I knew she loved my father and me, yet there had always been a barrier between us, a wall that sealed off half of her heart from us, as if she were holding it in reserve. I knew from an early age that I never wanted to be that way. And when I decided I wanted to be a doctor, I threw my entire heart into it. The difference between my mother and me, I'd decided, was that I didn't believe in half measures. I studied again the beautiful man in front of me, reminding myself of all that I'd accomplished and sacrificed, and all that I could still do as a female doctor, and a familiar calm settled on me. I would do my job, and do it well, and work even harder not to derail my focus. I took his vitals, and being satisfied with the results, I picked up his chart again from the table at the foot of his bed to make notations. Despite my frantic and constant reading of the chart during the night in an attempt to guide his treatment, I hadn't noticed his full name or where he was from. My eyes drifted to the top of the form, where I'd read earlier that he was a captain and that his last name was Ravenel, a name that sounded oddly familiar. My gaze slid to the space on the form for a first name, Cooper, and he was from Charleston, South Carolina. He hadn't said enough the previous night for me to determine whether he had a Southern accent, but in my newly awakened imagination, I thought that he would, and that his dropped consonants and slurred vowels would sound wonderful emerging from those lips. I clenched my eyes, reminding myself to remain focused, inordinately thankful that I was alone in the room with nobody to witness my foolishness. Victorine. The words startled me, and I almost dropped the chart on the wounded leg. His eyes were open, but still glazed from fever and morphine, and although I knew he was oblivious to his surroundings, the way he was looking at me made me feel again as if he knew me. I placed the chart back on the table and moved closer to him. Captain Ravenel? Can you hear me? Victorine, he said again, his eyes focused on my face, the name filled with hope and wonder, making me want to answer yes. But for the first time in my life, I couldn't speak. None of my resources or my authority as a medical doctor gave me whatever it was I needed to answer the longing in the soldier's voice. It unnerved me, made me feel the loss of something I never knew existed. He continued to look at me as I recovered my composure and slipped back into my Dr. Kate Schuyler persona. Captain Ravenel, you're in a hospital in New York City. Your leg is badly hurt, but we are doing our best to save it. As if he hadn't heard me, his hand gripped mine, and I knew I couldn't pull away even if I'd wanted to. It's you, he whispered, his eyes settling on my face. A sensation like hot chocolate sliding down my throat cocooned me so that I was aware only of this man and me, and the heat of our clasped hands. My logical mind tried to reason with me, to tell me that Cooper Ravenel was in a feverish delirium and had no idea who I was. But there was something in his eyes that made me cling to the fallacy that there was something more. I'm here, I managed to say. I'm here to take care of you. I know, he said through dry lips. I knew there was a glass of water on his bedside table and that I should give him some to drink, yet I couldn't look away or drop his hand. Not yet. His words rushed out, like they'd been held back for a long, long time. His sentences broken in the middle as he fought for the energy to speak them. I've been waiting a long time to meet you. With great effort, he lifted his other arm and touched my hair. Take it down. Since medical school, I'd worn my long hair twisted into a tight bun and held securely with a large comb at the back of my head. My hair was my only vanity, and I couldn't cut it even though I knew it would be much easier than putting it up every morning. But it was long and dark like my mother's, which had framed her face with a pronounced widow's peak just like